Good afternoon. Hope you're enjoying your Friday. Welcome to it. It's the Friday afternoon show, a new series that we're doing on the channel. If you like it, please do leave a thumbs up and please do consider subscribing. It's basically us talking about things not related to the previews and the match reactions. We'll be talking about everything Manchester United that comes to mind within the week. Today, we're going to be talking about the coronavirus and how it's going to affect football going forward in terms of a Manchester United sense, at least, and maybe Premier League as well. We'll be talking about Paul Pogba, and then we'll be talking about some of the transfer rumours that we've become accustomed to as Manchester United fans. So loads to talk about in today's show, but in a very short space of time. So without any further ado, let's get into it, man. Coronavirus. Oh, by the way, I'm joined by Shawnee, just so you know. It's my usual partner in crime. The coronavirus, man. It's affected Italian football the most. From what I can tell. Well, actually, it's affected Chinese football the most because they've obviously called off their league. But I meant in Europe, it's affected Italian football already. I think people are banned from going to games now.
Yeah, 1 month.
I've heard. I've heard the chairman of UEFA talking about how it might affect the Euros as well. So, do you think the coronavirus could eventually affect the Europa League and perhaps the Premier League as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think like if we draw up against like Inter Milan or something, like what will happen then? Do we play that first leg or do we play the away leg behind closed doors or whatever? Plus, there are cases that there is coronavirus in the UK. So, I don't know. It could be a matter of time before Premier League games start getting rescheduled or cancelled or getting played behind closed doors. And I think it's just, as much as it's bad, for everyone around the world, it's also bad for the sport. It's bad. It's just not good in general.
Yeah, I was talking to someone. If you don't know and you're listening to the show, we're from South Africa, so obviously I was talking to someone the other day, and they spoke about they actually compared the coronavirus to Ebola, and they said at least it's not as deadly as the Ebola, and I'm like, yeah, but the Ebola wasn't everywhere, like the coronavirus has spread so fast. I think it's hit over 85 countries at the moment in such a short space of time, and there are reports coming out in the US from some media outlets, I think Fox News is one of them, that the coronavirus was actually there before it broke out in China. So there's actually been cases of the coronavirus before that, but they just didn't know. They didn't pick it up till people started actually having the symptoms, So for me, I think this virus is worse than most outbreaks on most diseases because of how fast it spread and how much, obviously in the grander scheme of things, human life matters the most. But, there are other things that are just up there with oxygen and water, and money is one of them. And I think a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money, not just because of treatment, but, like you said, football is going to suffer a lot. And a lot of businesses will suffer as a result of the coronavirus. So it's interesting. I think we could see Premier League games being closed behind closed doors, and then eventually possibly the season getting written off, because at the end of the day, players aren't immune to the virus. So by playing football games, you're putting the cameramen, the players, the coaching staff at risk,
Yeah.
So,
and I seen a tweet yesterday. I think it was on Sky Sports saying that I think in the future Premier League games now there won't be any more handshakes as well.
Imagine banning handshakes.
Yeah, imagine banning handshakes. And then also I think the one UEFA president, I'm not sure who he is, but he actually said that, like, the coronavirus is obviously a big deal, but they deal with many other bigger problems and big problems. So this is it'll just be one of those things, and they'll, find a way around it. So.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, man. Interesting stuff. The coronavirus, it's not something I enjoy talking about. I know there's a lot of memes floating around on the internet, and look, I don't mind people making jokes and people using humor to get through the adversity of a difficult situation, but I always tell people just keep it away from me, because I personally choose not to joke about something like the coronavirus. And it's not like anyone who knows me knows I have a sense of humor, but I think this is just very serious, and now is not the time to be joking when there's people genuinely dying due to the virus. Like it's an epidemic, and I think it's a bit too soon. But who am I to judge?
Exactly.
Paul, Oh wait, you still want to say something?
And I was just gonna say, I'm gonna end off, saying, all thoughts and prayers with anyone who's been affected by the coronavirus. And what you were saying about the memes, even I was seeing memes were like, when will the Glazers catch it and get erased from this planet? And I was like, whoa, like I understand none of us hate the Glazers and stuff, and But like, ish,
Yeah.
wishing
Now that
death
you mention,
upon someone.
yeah, like now that you mention it, I think people just take things too far nowadays, and it's a topic we can talk about for hours upon hours on another day, on another show, not on this show. But just very briefly, I do believe that people take things a bit too far. You know, jokes are jokes, but jokes also have limits. You can take jokes too far sometimes, certainly, and wishing death upon people is not. It's not a very good thing, regardless of what they've done. People need to learn to separate the football and learn to separate the business from the actual person. So that's just my little 2 cents on it. But it's a free world, isn't it? So people don't do what they want to do. I think we should move on to Paul Pogba then. The recent news surrounding him. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has come out in the past, and he's come out recently actually, saying that Paul Pogba isn't quite match fit yet, and that he'll be training with his own physios. First of all, something we've never personally spoken about between you and I, even off air. What do you think about the fact that Paul Pogba was training with his own physios? Is that weird that he's not like working with the club physios at all?
Nah, like when you look at it, I think Paul Pogba is he's world class. He's a big name, and I don't think Paul Pogba is stupid. I think he'll know what the situation is at United. There's evidence clearly that this medical team has not been the best, and they're actually quite poor. And in his previous injuries before, he's been rushed back. So I don't blame Paul for taking these precautions, getting his own people done. I think even back then, before United were in decline and all these things, there were these cases where players had their own doctors and physios to look after them. I don't think it's really a big shock and things like that. So yeah, I'm not surprised. I don't think there's anything negative about it. Obviously, people who don't like Paul will put a negative aspect to it, but I don't really see it as a big deal. I actually think it's better for Paul.
You know what? Yeah, Shawnee. You know what? Talking about viruses, I think Paul Pogba's a virus. I do. I think he's toxic. I think he's toxic for the club. Imagine. Oh my god. Yeah, you couldn't have said it any better, man. I think with regards to Paul Pogba, it's just the Pogba agenda is getting a bit petty now. He gets a lot of flack for things that don't make sense, like wearing a blue shirt on the day of the Manchester Derby. Like, grow up. He's literally wearing blue fabric on the day of a football game that he wasn't even at. Like, grow up.
Yeah, the pundit. What's his name? Gray Soundness. He has the biggest. Like, actually, Pogba shagged his wife or something. Mad. It's mad. Absolutely mad when he speaks about Paul Pogba. We're not even involved in the game. Now, you know what the big problem is, though? Paul Pogba. Yeah, United won today, but with Paul being there, you would have won today. What? Come on.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It's people. Agendas are agendas, but some agendas just don't make sense. And the Paul Pogba one, I suppose it does make sense, because when you're world-class talent in any field, you're going to have haters. So it actually does make sense that why people hate Paul Pogba, because he's just that good. Haters going to hate. I think with regards to Paul Pogba, where I stand with Paul Pogba at the moment is I actually don't think he's going to him leaving the club is actually a certainty now. I don't. I know the tune coming from most United fans, or at least most of the fan channels rather, is that Paul Pogba is certainly going to be leaving at the end of the summer. And I think he definitely did want to leave last summer. I don't think that can be denied. But I just think with regards to Paul Pogba now, things could change over the next few months.
Yeah.
Do I want him to stay? Heck yeah, I want him to stay. But do I want him to stay in the state that he's in the club right now? Not really. I would rather we sold him and got Grealish and someone else. But, if Pogba does stay, I ain't going to be mad about it. Like, heck yeah, I want Paul Pogba to stay. But at the same time, I just feel like it's become so toxic, and it's not his fault at all. I just think... I suppose that happens with world-class players, but I just think Paul Pogba always raises a lot of questions. He's going to start raising a lot of question marks now, because when Paul Pogba comes back, a lot of you listening to this podcast who like Paul Pogba might say he should get straight back into the team. I personally believe that nobody should be bigger than the team, and you should work your way back into a team, especially at Manchester United, especially if they're winning. Like, that's the emphasis. That's the key part. If we're losing and won a bad run of games and then Paul Pogba's fit all of a sudden, yeah, slot him in. But if players are playing well and people have earned their right to be in the team, like the likes of Fred and Bruno, I personally believe he should have to work his way back into the team. But beyond that, I really do want Paul Pogba to stay. Whether or not he will is another question entirely. But what are your thoughts on that? I don't think it's as certain as people are making it out to be, because, with the way Manchester United have started to pick up form, unbeaten in 9, I know it's not amazing or anything like that. Do you think there's a chance Paul Pogba could actually stay?
Honestly, yeah. He'll be back in training this week. In Carrington, so that's him. He'll be training with the team again. So maybe not Spurs game, maybe the game after Spurs. I think he'll be back. And yeah, Paul Pogba is a big deal. United will not. I doubt they'll sell them Paul Pogba below 100 million. I mean, he's worth 100 million. I don't think it's unfair to Paul saying that it's not worth 100 million. And
I think it's worth more, to be honest. But yeah,
I also think it's worth more. I would stick up. I'm like, hey, 150. Otherwise, you're not getting Paul Pogba. Hardly. That's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of and you know what, I think what United have told Paul is like, listen, we got Bruno Fernandes now, we're in a good run of form. When you come back, just play, play some games, see how it is, and maybe we can change your mind, hopefully. And like anyone knows me, I would love to keep Paul Pogba. I think if Paul Pogba goes, he can't be replaced. Like, you have to sign 2-3 players to get like a Paul Pogba. He's that good, in my opinion. And yeah, I hope he stays. I don't think this deal is as easy as people make it out to be. Whether or not, I think he will stay. It's like I'm a 50-50.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he 100% will. I think he will, but whether or not it will actually happen. What I feel will happen and what pragmatically might actually happen are two completely different things. So yeah, we just never know with Paul Pogba.
I think the way Paul leaves United is if he forces the move in the summer.
Yeah. Look, I think people forget that this is not FIFA. When you're talking about 100+ million pounds, that's a lot of money, and it doesn't get done overnight, especially not with Manchester United. Ed Woodward probably needs like an extension on the transfer window to sort out that sort of a deal quickly. And quickly for Ed Woodward is in less than a month. With United, it's never that simple. Look at how long the Bruno deal took. Look at how long it took us to bring in a striker, and we are wound up negotiating with Igalo in the last 6 hours of the transfer window. So it's already a 100 million+ pound deal is not simple. When you add a club that's run horribly on top of that into the mix and is just in it for the money, then it becomes worse. And I think with Paul Pogba, like, if you want to have an argument about how much Paul Pogba is really worth, please remember that was it Dembele from Tottenham, or was it Dembele from Dortmund? Sorry, went to Barcelona, 435 million pounds. So please bear that in mind. And that was a few seasons ago.
Joao Felix went from freaking Benfica to Atletico for 105.
Joao Felix, yeah, exactly. And whether you agree with Joao Felix or not, whether you think Joao Felix is that good or not, the point is that money has been spent on a player like Joao Felix, and the market. Any market in business really has inflation, and Paul Pogba has to go for over 100 million pounds if he's statistically one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, and he's going to be going to a team like Madrid or Juventus or any other big club. There's going to be some big money involved. I just think with Paul Pogba, he's a bit trapped at Manchester United at the moment. With Lukaku, it was easy for him to move, but players like Pogba, players like Neymar, it's difficult for them to move, because they're so expensive. So, in a way, at least Paul Pogba still has France, the Euros, and a lot of clubs will want to play like Paul Pogba. With Neymar, it's worse because Neymar is on the wrong side of 27. He's still a phenomenal player, but the problem with Neymar is he's doing it in the French league, and he's I wouldn't say he's overpriced, but his price is so high. It's like, why would you buy Neymar when you could get Sancho? Why would you buy Neymar when you can get X a player or Z a player? And that's the problem with Neymar. With Pogba, there ain't that many midfielders like that. There's a lot of talented left wingers, right wingers, strikers, but midfielders of the elite level of Paul Pogba, who've won a World Cup, who've done the hard yards, it's hard to find. So
yeah, and the thing is, Paul Pogba is so special. Like, you look at the player himself, he's so complete. He's like double the size of De Bruyne. He'll bounce De Bruyne. De Bruyne doesn't have Pogba's physicality. I don't care what you have to say other than that. Paul Pogba's passing, amazing also. His shooting, amazing, you know. His vision, amazing. You know, Paul Pogba is world class.
Yeah, there'll never be another Paul Pogba, you know, in the same way that there'll never be another Sergio Aguero. He's just that kind of player. He's cemented himself in for me in footballing history, and I don't know if he'll go down as a United legend because he hasn't had the best time with the club and he hasn't stayed here long enough to cement himself properly as a legend. But I think when you talk about teams of the decade, Paul Pogba is definitely going to be a player that's on some people's minds. And football in general, you know, if you ask French people, he's probably a legend to them. So
yeah, like I said before in my previous conversation, Paul Pogba gets in my world 11.
Yeah, I've got no problems with that. Like, this guy plays in a Manchester United team that struggles and consistently makes team of the season. Well, not consistently, but he makes team of the season more than a lot of other players would in this situation, you know. And I know it's just FIFA, but I'm talking about the FIFA team of the season. Like, FIFA it's an officially licensed product made by EA on behalf of FIFA. So, like, I know it's a video game. I know you can't take the ratings too seriously, but when someone does make team of the season consistently, you know, you have to put some respect on the guy's name, you know. But yeah, there's a lot of transfer rumors coming in. You know, a lot of United fans have their willies out because Sancho might be coming here. The Harry Kane rumors, the Jack Grealish rumors.
Oh yeah.
I think Jack Grealish is an interesting one because we've spoken about him on this channel before. Jack Grealish is a player who's publicly said that he likes Old Trafford. He's romanticized with the idea of coming to Manchester United, and I think it's pretty obvious that he would love to come here. For him, it's like a dream move. Jack Grealish in the summer, is it happening? Is it not happening? Where are you? I know you want it, but do you think it's going to happen?
I think it will happen, guys. You know, he's my dream signing. He's one of my favorite players at the moment, probably in my top 3 at the moment in the world. I think Jack Grealish could come. It just feels like such a United move to do. You know, he's English.
Yeah.
He's at Aston Villa. You know, he's a hero for that club. He loves Aston Villa. But when United come knocking, you know, you go. It's like a Rory Keane. It's like, you know, when Ashley Young was at Villa as well. As soon as United or a big team comes knocking, you will probably leave, despite how much you love Villa for your career. So, you know, I really do think Grealish will get over the line. You know, I've seen those stories where, like, if Pogba stays, we won't get Grealish. You know, like, when I hear that, I'm like, you know, it's probably realistic, but you should get Grealish irrespective if Pogba stays or not. Because, you know,
because it's competition.
You know, we have Pereira and Lingard there. You want to play they're good. No,
squad depth.
Yeah, so definitely. And I think Grealish isn't a better player, obviously. I think he deserves more than that. But, you know, it is what it is. When you're a big team, you have good players on the bench, and that's just how it is.
But what I would also say is that, you know, when people love doing this thing as football, like, we love doing this thing as football fans, and I'm not trying to call anyone out in particular, but we love doing this thing where it's like, you know, oh, he won't come here because Martial is starting. Oh, he won't come here because such and such is starting. But, you know, you look at a player like Jack Grealish, at the end of the day, if he's as good as people say he is, he's going to bench the players. Like, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's not going to not start someone if they're playing well when they get their chance, you know, unless the position is really heavily contested. So what I would say with regards to someone like Jack Grealish is Pogba's going to leave eventually because of age. And Jack Grealish has a lot of football left in him. A lot of football. He's a young player. You know, he's a young player. He's going to go on to play international football, assuming he doesn't get injured, and he's upward trajectory towards being a star.
I think if
definitely.
He doesn't get called up for the England squad, I am done watching.
He definitely will. Well, you know, you never know, but I think he definitely will. I think it's safe to bet on him getting picked. But look, just very briefly with Jack Grealish, I just think that he's got a lot of football in him. He's young, and there's no problem if he comes to Old Trafford and he doesn't play for the first few games, but he will ease into the team. Like, there's no ways he doesn't.
Yeah.
And even if he gets off to a rocky start, he's a quality player. Like, it's similar to Bruno. He's going to come and have an immediate impact. Yeah, exactly. So
he's not going to be having, you know, this no backbone things. He'll be like Bruno. He'll be exactly like Bruno. He'll be like, hey, listen, I'm a captain, I'm a leader. This is how it should be.
It's funny because the signing's very similar to Bruno because we're lucky as well. Like, I don't think that many clubs are in for Grealish at the moment. I don't think Liverpool want a Grealish. I don't think Chelsea are looking at a Grealish. I don't think Spurs will be looking at a Grealish because they need reinforcements in other positions. So United, once again, are lucky to have a player that nobody else is really contesting for yet. And if they can move on, it seems like United are doing business before the summer, kind of like Chelsea did with Ziyech. They've already sealed a deal with Ziyech. So I hope that's true. I hope we get this deal done before the transfer window opens.
Yeah, like imagine opening day comes and we're like, Grealish announced. Oh, I'll be so.
It will be perfect. But anyways, moving on. Jadon Sancho. Do you think he's realistic for United, and what do you think are the circumstances that would bring him here?
I know people are loving this signing, this transfer rumor. They're loving it. They're having all of it. Give me part of a piece of that and this and that. I'm not having
the edits on Instagram.
I'm not having it. I will be honest, guys. I feel like this is just too far for me. I think even if we get Champions League, even if we won Europa League, I don't know. I just don't think Jadon Sancho would come.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are not going to want to hear this, right? But if there's one thing I have to give Ed Woodward credit for, it's Ed Woodward likes a big signing. People don't want to hear that. I know people don't want to hear that. But look at the track record of when Ed Woodward took over this club. Falcao, Di Maria, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Paul Pogba. I'm trying to think of more now. Lukaku, Sanchez. There's a few more in there. Bruno. I just thought Bruno slipped my mind. I forgot about him because he feels like Bruno's been here for ages.
Obviously, he's not that big. But when we signed him, I was like, yo, what a signing.
Wan-Bissaka, because it's £50 million for Crystal Palace right back. Not many people would pay that. Harry Maguire, 80 million for a Leicester defender.
No, yeah, I think we definitely got the resources to get Jadon Sancho. It's just, I don't know, there's something in my gut that's like, I don't want to buy it.
Usually I wouldn't say that Jadon Sancho would come to a club like Manchester United, but the point I'm trying to make is Ed Woodward loves a big signing. And look, I think if we get Champions League football and we sell a proper project and a proper vision, Jadon Sancho could come to us. Because
I think we definitely need Champions League for this.
We definitely do, but you just need to compare the competition. Like, Jadon Sancho is not a player who I think is afraid to go into a situation where I think Jadon Sancho, and I obviously don't know him personally and I don't know him as a human being, but based off the way he plays, based off the move from Manchester City to Dortmund, this is a kid who was young at Manchester City and said, you know what, sod it, I'm going to Germany to establish myself. I'm going to go there, I'm going to try and become the best player I can be, and then I'm going to come back into the Premier League, and you're going to put some respect on my name. So I think he's the kind of player who will fancy an opportunity regardless of the team's circumstances, as long as they're in the Champions League, obviously. And I think if you look at Chelsea and you look at Manchester United and both those teams somehow make Champions League football, I don't know if you pick Chelsea. I don't see anything besides the football. I don't see why Chelsea would be a more appealing project when Manchester United have signed Bruno. They still have Pogba. They could be getting Grealish. Marcus Rashford is there. Martial, there's a plan coming together, Whereas with Chelsea, it's very inconsistent. You might not win trophies for a while. So, I don't know. If we don't get Champions League football, then you'll probably end up going to a team like Chelsea or Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Yeah, I think because with other players you've signed, like you said, no one has been in for him. With Jadon Sancho, there are a lot of teams in for Jadon Sancho.
Yeah. I don't know. You see, the one thing that makes me confident is if Manchester United get Champions League football, Manchester United have a project, then Manchester United wins as far as I'm concerned. Unless it's Barcelona, Real Madrid, Manchester United wins because the money, I think money. If Jadon Sancho has to choose, if Jadon Sancho has to choose between Champions League football, a solid project, and a massive wage bill, or attractive football, Champions League football, and less of a budget. He could pick the latter because he's Jadon Sancho, but I think he'll go with the money. And he can always leave United.
Got his head screwed
on. Not signing away his life.
Yeah.
So,
and if United will play a lot of football because, that right-wing competition, there is no such.
There isn't. I mean, the guy who's playing there...
That's why I'm also a little bit like, you know, obviously I don't think it will happen, but obviously that it boosts my confidence because when I think obviously Liverpool I from, but then I'm thinking from Sancho's point of view. I'm like, you know, Liverpool are great. I'll win plenty trophies. They have a working system and everything. But am I gonna get picked over a Salah or a Mane? I doubt it.
I don't know. It's weird. It's interesting with Jadon Sancho because a lot
But
of
I think
people,
Jadon will
Liverpool
go there
fans,
and try to prove himself that
exactly,
I'm better
exactly.
than him.
That's what I was about to say. A lot of Liverpool fans don't want to hear this, but I think Jadon Sancho could bench someone like Salah
I think you could bench Salah.
eventually.
I honestly think you could.
Eventually, yeah, eventually. But you know, Liverpool fans won't want to hear that. Liverpool fans aren't having it. They're probably cringing at this video at the moment. If there are any Liverpool fans listening in anyways. But yeah, very briefly, Harry Kane, do you think these rumors have any substance to them, or do you think this is just United after their financial board meeting putting stuff out in the media again?
Guys, this is Neil Ashton, right here. Our PR guy. This is
Spin.
Neil Ashton. Because, you know, I think I told you yesterday, and I spoke about it way long ago, when Harry Kane first started, like, popping up in the scene big time. And I always still said that, you know, Harry Kane is such a United signing, you know, also. He's English, he's that type of striker that just looks like he'll fit into United. You know, he is a leader. But then you think about his price tag. And when you think about his price tag, also 100 plus mil, you could probably get the player of Harry Kane's quality for way cheaper if you just looked. You could get like a team over, and you could get a striker. So, you know,
So many
obviously, if you
strikers.
did have to get Harry Kane, I'll be gassed because I personally do like Harry Kane a lot. I think if we had to somehow get Harry Kane, if there's any truth behind this, you know, Harry Kane did say he would fancy a move to United, and I would believe that because it seems like such a signing that fits into piece perfectly.
Yeah.
I think if we did somehow by miracle get Harry Kane, I think he walks straight into the team as well. You know, which is bad because obviously Martial guys don't want to yet, and I'm Martial FC as well. But I think you know when you sign a player like Harry Kane, how are you not going to play?
Well, all I would say with Harry Kane is the only negative thing for me, besides his price tag, is his injury record. And I think wherever Harry Kane goes, somebody's always going to have a chance to prove themselves because he's going to be. It's not long before he'll be in the recovery room with the medical staff, especially not at United.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harry Kane, you know, personally, as a player, in terms of preference, the kind of striker that Harry Kane isn't my cup of tea. But if there was any striker like that in the world that I would sign, it would be Harry Kane. I know that sounds like a paradox, but he's the lesser of the two evils, if that makes sense. Like, I usually don't like poachers and classic number 9s, but if there was a classic number 9 that I do want, it's Harry Kane. Because he's just a very likable guy. He's English, as you said. It just makes sense. I've imagined Harry Kane in a red shirt lots of times.
I think we all have. I think if you're a United fan and you haven't thought about the Harry Kane signing, you know, I'd be
and
very
you
shocked.
just that badge, that Manchester United crest next to Harry Kane's face, just it makes me feel so euphoric, really. But I've always had to catch myself when I'm thinking about that because you know the reality is I am supporting Manchester United and we might never sign him. But yeah, it's an interesting one.
About three negatives. I think it's bullshit, and I think it's PR spin. Second, I think if it were to happen, that price tag would be ridiculous because both our owners are like that, and you know, Tottenham's owners also. He's basically a scumbag. And third, I think we shouldn't. Personally, I wouldn't go for a striker. I think CDM is very important.
Yeah, and I don't
like
think
if we do end up playing with like a Pogba or Bruno and Grealish in the next season. I know Fred is amazing and he doesn't deserve to be dropped, but then you look at Fred and McTominay and Matic and you start to question whether or not they could hold that midfield at a CDM point of view. So I would personally still get a CDM. For me, the priorities are right mid, another attacking midfielder or center midfielder, and a CDM.
Definitely, and I would get a backup left winger because even though Dan James could be a backup, I want someone more solid for when Rashford gets a stress fracture again. But very briefly with regards to Harry Kane, I do think that these rumors have suddenly popped up out of nowhere, and it is PR spin and all that jazz. And I also think, why would Spurs sell him? You know, the Spurs of old used to produce talent and sell it like Southampton, but Spurs are not that team anymore. Spurs are a team that sacked the manager who made the Champions League final because they want to win trophies. So I just think if Spurs have any remnants or any desire to become a big club, the first step is not getting rid of your star players unless they're past it, and I don't think Harry Kane's past it at Spurs
And that's
yet.
the thing. I think the rumors were saying that, what would Harry Kane fancy? Does he really fancy this rebuild and what Mourinho and them will do?
Yeah, I just think if Harry Kane wants to leave Spurs, that's the only way he's leaving Spurs. Like, Harry Kane has to throw his toys out the pram. I don't think Spurs want to let go of a player like Harry Kane. Certainly not Mourinho.
I would ask you,
loves Spurs.
How much would you pay for Harry Kane? What do you value? Like, what would you pay? United had him at that price tag.
Look, it's... if I saw United signing Harry Kane, that would be one of the first times where I genuinely would cringe and think about the money leaving my pockets, even though it's not my pocket, and even though, I don't have a cent in the club. But it's one of those signings where you're like, like that price tag. I best see a bang on the first game to make me feel at ease about that price tag. So,
but honestly, I think the price tag for me to sign the deal is 60 is off. That's a bargain. But I think 80 mil. I think if you can get Harry Kane for 80 mil, I think it's not bad.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, if you're asking me what I want us to sign him for, less than 100 mil would be amazing. But if you're asking me what I think we're gonna have to pay, probably in the hundreds, to be honest with you.
No, yeah, that's what I said. Like, so that's why I asked, like, what price tag would you, sign the contract now?
I would try get him for less than 100, but if I couldn't, like, sod it. Like, I love Harry Kane and everything, but there's so many players out there. Like, sod it. Like,
if it's 100
but then
plus,
again,
no worries.
Yeah, but then again, if the club did pay that amount of money, I would only be mad if we spent all our budget on one player and we didn't reinforce other positions. Like, if we bought Harry Kane and we still didn't have a CDM, I'd be like, bruh.
Like, if we got Harry Kane and then Grealish deal falls through because it's too much, and we don't get Sancho, and we don't get, and that's it. That's how we win the time because of that price tag. I'll be mad.
Yeah, then you've got to ask questions of the signing. But like, sod it, man. You don't need Harry Kane to be a functioning team. France won a World Cup with Giroud, and no disrespect to Giroud, I think he's a great player with all that play, but you don't need Harry Class A in your number 9 position.
You're like, what does that do for Martial? Like, you gave him the number 9 shirt again. You backed him. Remember, Martial's like, you move from here, now you don't back me, now you back me. And then
personally, this might be the United fan in me talking, but personally, if you're asking me Harry Kane or Martial, I'm taking Martial any day. Like, Martial's more my cup of tea, because I like a striker who can hold up play. Not that this is relevant, but even when I play FIFA, my strikers generally don't score that many goals because I use them for hold-up play. So that's just my personal preference.
Yeah, obviously my personal preference would be like someone like Harry Kane and Aguero, strikers with banging goals.
That's true. But yeah, interesting, man. Anyways, thank you for listening to the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a great Friday afternoon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, man. Sending out positive vibes, thoughts, prayers, condolences to anyone who might be going through or knows someone who's going through the coronavirus in any way. You're not serious.
I'll tell you.
But thoughts and prayers and condolences, man. But enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. Peace.